You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video we're going to do our review for the movie Run, Hide, Fight. This movie released on January 15th, and I've been actually trying to do a review for it. And again, Godzilla came, and there's been a lot of monster news the last couple of weeks. But we're finally here. And this movie is basically a story about a young girl who's kind of going through a rough time after her mother passes away. And she has a relationship with her father that's kind of teetering on the edge. And basically she goes to school one day, and on this day, the school is under siege by some students who are basically shooting people and actually have a bigger plan to do some horrible things. This movie stars Thomas Jane. You'll actually see some familiar faces in this movie. Radha Mitchell is in this as well. The young girl that plays the main character named Zoe is Isabel May. And this movie was actually rejected by a number of Hollywood studios, especially after what happened in Florida some time ago. Prior to that, some studios had been expressing interest in doing the movie. But of course, it is a very sensitive topic. You know, the idea of where this movie manifested in terms of school shootings. Judging it straightly as a movie, and because there are a lot of, you'll look at this movie and you'll see a lot of political things involved, not in the movie itself, not necessarily in the story, just surrounding it in terms of critics, people's opinions, because the movie has been released by the Daily Wire. And the Daily Wire is a right-leaning outlet. One notable person that speaks on the Daily Wire and is co-founder of the Daily Wire is Ben Shapiro. I'm sure you've heard a lot of different things about Ben Shapiro. So all that aside, I thought the movie was solid. It was a little weak in some technical areas. I thought the cinematography was in some areas was very poor, especially like for instance, one part in the beginning of the movie when Zoe is with her father. They're out hunting and they're there early in the morning, and they take one shot of her getting out the car and she's kind of checking out the gun, and it just looked really bad. There were some areas of the movie where the cinematography in more darker settings was not that good. But in terms of the story and the action and the suspense involved, I thought that was very solid. I thought it was solid in that respect. You know, the young lady is, you know, she's kind of just stripped from certain aspects of reality and emotional connection, sort of like a defense mechanism. You know, some people when they're grieving, they do this. You know, they're hurting so bad inside that they don't really want to get close to people, including those that they were once very close with. So you see her relationship with like one of her best friends. You know, he's expressing interest and concern, and she's kind of pushing him away and things like that. Her father is kind of recognizing some of the behaviors that she's displaying in terms of how he displayed those same emotions when he came out of the military. So, you know, I thought those elements, those kind of attention to detail within the story was really good. It's also a fairly violent movie. You know, this is not a movie I would recommend to anyone who's kind of sensitive to this kind of subject. And even if you are, you know, I shouldn't say sensitive, because I'm sensitive to that subject as well, simply because my kids are just coming up into, you know, they're in third grade now, fourth grade. They're going to hit high school eventually. So these things as a parent do concern you. But I mean, if you're sensitive to it, to the idea that it bothers you to see it, yeah, I wouldn't recommend the movie. It's pretty detailed as to, you know, the way they do things. Some of it, I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But it's nothing that I would criticize the movie for personally, because, you know, I don't think this is something we should also shy away from. You know, yes, it does hit home. It will hit home for people who, especially someone who unfortunately experienced that. But it's also something we shouldn't necessarily ignore. It's a reality. It's something that we should be concerned with. It's something we should learn how to mitigate. So I think, you know, I kind of give credit to the director, who, by the way, let me just pull it, Kyle Rankin, to having the balls to just direct a movie like this and write it. And you could understand why a lot of Hollywood studios would not want to do it. You know, having PR these days is such a big deal, especially like PR on Twitter. But I thought the movie overall was entertaining. Taking the element out, taking it for what it is, which is a movie that's meant to entertain you and probably show that you don't want to bow down to people who try to do these things. One of the things that happens and not just school shooters, even people in general who do mass violent acts. Like remember the one in Vegas. They at the end of the day they want their name in the paper. They want to be remembered in history. And this movie does a good job of showing that taking that away from them is probably the most important thing you can do. There's one particular scene towards the end where Zoe kind of, in not so many words, because I don't want to spoil the line, I thought it was really good. In not so many words, kind of expresses that to the leader of this band of kids that are doing these things. And I thought that was a solid message, in terms of we don't want to, directly or indirectly raise these people up by naming them when they do these things. It's it just gives them exactly what they want, and it also inspires others, because they think, if someone's a little loony and they think this way, they're going to see someone else like this. Their name's going to be all over the paper, all over the news for the next week or two. They'll be in trials. Their name will be all over the place. They'll be covered for a period of time. And people who are just not all together there, who are kind of thinking about these things, might think about that and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this too. In terms of action, it's very, one of the things I love about this movie is that the character Zoe, it's not like she's just a superhero that walks in and she knows how to do everything and she's just the superhero. No, she earns it. I mean, she goes through hell. She's beaten up. She gets shot. I mean, she has this willingness to. It comes very organic that she's doing what she's doing. It's not like she's just saying, "I'm pissed and I'm not going to take this anymore," and she decides to be this epic superhero. It just kind of happens organically. She's not necessarily. That's not her aim. It just happens that way. And it's not like she has all the right answers and all the right moves. She just fights for her life. She fights to survive, but at the same time, she is helping people as well. She is putting her ass on the line to help others get out of the situation. And it almost cost her life. One particular scene, it almost cost her life. And that's one of the things I love about this movie is, when you see movies that star female heroes, we talk about back in the day, we love movies like, Aliens, like we talk about a character like Ripley, things like that. And this movie is very much in line with developing a female hero by not just giving her everything right out the gate. She earns the hero title by the end of the movie. And she, like I said, it almost cost her life. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid movie, considering that the Daily Wire is a news outlet and they're trying to break into the entertainment industry. I thought it was a solid way to start that road. Now, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, you're going to see the same thing you see all the time, which is critics hate it and people who saw the movie absolutely loved it. Last time I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, I think the critic rating was like a 14% rotten and the fan rating was about just under 90% fresh. That's a common thing now. Again, I don't like to get into when it comes to talking entertainment. I don't like to get into politics, but it's not something you can avoid anymore. In terms of looking just how drastically critics and fans are rating movies now. We all always expect fans to have a different reaction to a movie than critics, and of course, critics are not always right. In fact, I find it more common now that critics are wrong, more now than ever. So you're going to see no different thing here, and I think a lot of the critics destroy it, number one, because they don't think it's good taste. I'm always of the favor that you shouldn't shy away from real life things that are uncomfortable or that are difficult to deal with. We have to face them, and sometimes the way some people deal with that is through entertainment. Sometimes the way people deal with that is through telling a story regarding an event very similar. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I would say watch the movie and judge it for yourself. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was very good, and I thought the actress who played Zoe did a phenomenal job. It's also nice to see Thomas Jane. We haven't seen him in a movie I think since Predators or excuse me, the remake of Predator. And he was a big deal a couple of years ago when he did the Punisher movie, and he was Deep Blue Sea and things like that. And then Rahada Mitchell, last time I saw her in a movie was actually Silent Hill. She played the mother, for those of you who don't remember. So, but overall, I thought it was a solid movie. You know, like I said, most of the issues with the movie I had were more technical, and sometimes that does take you out of the element a little bit. You know, there's one gentleman who plays one of the kid shooters who is just a little bit overboard with his acting. He kind of overdid it in some areas, but it is pretty intense. It can get pretty intense sometimes, and it could get pretty, you know, again, if you're sensitive to this sort of thing, I probably wouldn't recommend it. It is fairly violent. There are some pretty brutal shots, you know, like in terms of someone getting killed by being shot. They're pretty brutal. So, but I enjoyed it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. And I like some of the elements that, you know, the kind of message, you know, of not giving into these people. And my son's laughing you probably can hear him in the background laughing like a madman. They're over there playing. But I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie. And again, this, when you go to watch it, just judge it for the movie in and of itself. Try not to get too wrapped up in what people are saying about it, because a lot of the people that are saying things about the movie are politically driven. Some of them either hate the Daily Wire or just hate the idea of a movie about a school shooting even existing. And I would just say give the movie a shot. Give the movie a shot. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie. A lot of technical problems, but again, they're not consistent enough that it ruins the experience. So, but anyway, guys, that's it for my review. Let me know if you've seen this movie. Let me know in the comment section how it made you feel, what you thought about it. And if you haven't seen it, do you plan on checking it out? This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.